On December 30th, 2025, a mother dropped her 8-month-old son off at daycare, just like any other morning. He was healthy, happy, and in good spirits. By noon that same day, emergency responders were racing to save his life. What the daycare owner would later tell investigators revealed a tragic failure in our system designed to protect our most vulnerable children. This is the story of Elijah Flowerday and the questions that still need answers about how we safeguard the children in our care. Before we discuss what happened, it's important to remember who Elijah Flowerday was. At just 8 months old, Elijah was the youngest son of Isaac Flowerday and Trinity Russell. He had an older brother, Leyland, who loved him dearly. According to his family, Elijah was a happy baby who brought joy to everyone around him. His grandfather, Ian Flowerday, would later describe him as their beloved baby boy, whose life was taken far too soon. That morning of December 30th, Trinity Russell prepared her son for another day at daycare. She would later tell investigators that Elijah was in perfect health when she dropped him off. He had no injuries, no signs of illness, just a normal, healthy 8-month-old starting another day. The daycare Elijah attended was an in-home facility operated by 23-year-old Erin Sauls at her residence on Clifton Drive in Little Rock, Arkansas. Like many working parents, Isaac and Trinity trusted Sauls to provide safe, nurturing care for their infant son. While they were at work, nothing about that morning suggested it would be Elijah's last day with his family. At 11:14 a.m. on December 30th, Little Rock police received an urgent call from the Clifton Drive address. The report was every parent's worst nightmare. An infant had stopped breathing. When officers and emergency medical personnel arrived at the home, they found 8-month-old Elijah unresponsive. First responders immediately began performing CPR as they transported the baby to Arkansas Children's Hospital. According to the arrest affidavit filed by Little Rock police detectives, medical staff at the hospital conducted emergency scans that revealed the extent of Elijah's injuries. The infant had sustained a skull fracture along with bleeding in the brain and behind the eyes, injuries that medical professionals told investigators were consistent with significant physical force. A doctor at Arkansas Children's Hospital informed police that based on the nature and severity of the injuries, they likely occurred after 7 a.m. that morning, the time Trinity Russell had dropped her. Son off at the daycare. Despite the medical team's efforts, Elijah passed away at the hospital. His cause of death was ruled a homicide by medical examiners. What detectives would learn next from their investigation would raise serious questions about what happened during those hours Elijah was in Saul's care. According to the arrest report obtained by local news outlets, when questioned by Little Rock police detectives, Erin Sauls provided a statement about the events of that morning. Sauls told investigators that she had been changing Elijah's diaper when she became frustrated. According to her statement to police, she was dealing with a headache at the time. Court documents indicate that Sauls admitted to striking the infant's head against the hardwood floor of her home 3 times. The arrest affidavit states that after the physical contact occurred, Elijah became hot and appeared to be sweating. Sauls reportedly gave the infant a bottle, hoping he would improve. However, according to her statement, when she checked on Elijah approximately 15 minutes later, he had stopped breathing. That's when she called 911. This wasn't a case of an accident during play or an unexplained medical emergency. According to the police investigation and court documents, this was an admission of intentional physical force used against an 8-month-old infant. But as detectives dug deeper into Sauls's daycare operation, they would uncover potential regulatory concerns that raise broader questions about oversight and child safety. On Tuesday evening, December 30th, the same day as the incident, Erin Sauls was arrested at her Clifton Drive home. She was transported to the Pulaski County Jail and formally charged with capital offense charges in connection with Elijah's passing. The following day, December 31st, Sauls appeared in Little Rock District Court for her arraignment before Judge Jill Camps. She entered a plea of not guilty to the charges against her. Judge Camps ordered Sauls to be held without bond, meaning she would remain in custody at the Pulaski County Jail pending trial. Court records indicate her next scheduled appearance is January 13, 2026. While the legal process moves forward, this case raises critical questions about daycare oversight and child protection systems in Arkansas. According to interviews conducted by local news station KARK, at least one former parent who had used Sauls' daycare services spoke about her experience. Amanda Fulton told reporters that she had sent her children to Sauls' in-home daycare but stopped using the service in October 2025, just 2 months before the incident involving Elijah. Fulton described having an unexplained feeling of unease. She told KARK, "Something was telling me literally on my car ride home to pick up my boys, like, don't go back to her." She acted on that instinct and discontinued the daycare arrangement. Even more concerning are allegations about the number of children potentially in Sauls' care. According to Arkansas state regulations for unlicensed in-home daycare operations, providers are limited to caring for 5 or fewer children at any given time. Some parents allegedly told local media that Sauls may have been caring for more than the legal limit, though neighbors who spoke with KATV News stated they never observed more than 5 children at the residence at one time. This raises an important question. What oversight mechanisms exist to ensure in-home daycare providers are operating within legal parameters? In Arkansas, as in many states, there's a distinction between licensed and unlicensed daycare facilities. Licensed centers undergo regular inspections, background checks, and must meet specific safety and training requirements. Unlicensed in-home providers, sometimes called family childcare, operate under different rules, with the 5-child limit being one of the key regulatory boundaries. The challenge is enforcement. When a provider operates out of their private residence without regular inspections or oversight visits, how can regulators ensure compliance with safety standards and capacity limits? According to John Rand, whose grandson had attended Sauls' daycare, he and other parents were troubled by the lack of information they had about the facility's operations. These parents trusted Sauls with their children's safety, but questions remain about whether adequate safeguards were in place. This case highlights a broader issue facing working families across America. How do we ensure that the people we trust with our children are properly vetted, trained, and monitored? For Isaac Flowerday, Trinity Russell, and their surviving son Laylan, the loss of Elijah has left an unimaginable void. Ian Flowerday, Elijah's grandfather, established a GoFundMe fundraiser to help the family with expenses related to their loss. The fundraiser description reads, "Isaac Flowerday and his family are facing an unimaginable loss after the passing of their beloved baby boy, Elijah. This tragedy has left Isaac, Trinity, and their son Laylan heartbroken as they grieve the loss of their son and little brother. The days ahead will be incredibly difficult as they try to find comfort and healing together as a family." The community response has been one of support for the Flowerday family, with donations and messages of condolence pouring in during what the family has described as the most difficult time of their lives. Amanda Fulton, the former parent who had used Sauls' services, told KARK that while she remembered Sauls as a really sweet person, if the allegations are proven true in court, she believes accountability must be served. "Prison for life," Fulton said. "She doesn't deserve to see the light of day again." The legal process will ultimately determine the outcome of this case, but for Elijah's family, no verdict can bring back their baby boy. Cases like Elijah's remind us of the critical importance of daycare safety standards and proper oversight of childcare facilities. For parents seeking daycare services, child advocacy organizations recommend several important steps. First, verify licensing status. Even if a provider operates out of their home, ask about their credentials, training, and whether they're registered with state authorities. Many states maintain online databases where you can check a provider's status. Second, conduct unannounced visits. While it's normal to schedule an initial tour, consider dropping by at different times to observe how the provider interacts with children during various parts of the day. Third, trust your instincts. As Amanda Fulton's experience shows, sometimes parents sense something isn't right, even when they can't articulate why. Those feelings shouldn't be ignored. Fourth, maintain open communication with your children, even very young ones. While 8-month-old Elijah couldn't verbalize concerns, older children should feel comfortable telling parents about their daycare experiences. Organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Child Help, and local child advocacy centers provide resources for parents seeking guidance on childcare safety. At the legislative level, advocates are calling for stronger regulations around in-home daycare operations, including mandatory background checks for all providers, required training in infant and child safety, surprise inspection protocols for unlicensed providers, lower child-to-provider ratios, increased penalties for operating outside legal parameters. The question isn't whether regulations should exist. They already do. The question is whether we have adequate enforcement mechanisms to ensure those regulations are being followed. Elijah Flowerday was 8 months old. He was a son, a little brother, a grandson, a child with his whole life ahead of him. His family will never get to see him take his first steps, say his first words, or celebrate his first birthday. As this case moves through the legal system, with Erin Sauls awaiting trial, the broader questions remain. How do we better protect children in daycare settings? What changes need to happen to prevent similar tragedies? And how do we honor Elijah's memory by ensuring that the systems meant to keep children safe actually work? For Isaac, Trinity, and Leyland Flowerday, those questions matter deeply. But right now, they're focused on grieving the loss of their beloved Elijah and trying to find a path forward without him. If you'd like to support the Flowerday family, information about their fundraiser can be found through reputable crowdfunding platforms. We've included links to child advocacy resources in the description below. Thank you for watching True Crime Buff HQ, where we seek justice for the voiceless. If this video helped raise awareness about an important case, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. We'll continue covering cases that demand attention and accountability. Take care of each other.